Okay, in this video I'm going to look at what I describe as the bullying dilemma. That is, the bullying dilemma in the workplace, or bullying in the workplace. I come across many employees who complain about being bullied in the workplace, and quite frankly, most of them are not describing what would normally constitute bullying from a legal perspective. However, I do come across a small number who are genuinely being bullied or genuinely being treated inappropriately, to put it mildly, in the workplace. And I describe it as the bullying dilemma. And the reason for that is because often the first thing the person is supposed to do who is being bullied in the workplace is confront the bully. And clearly that's very, very difficult. Why would they have to confront the bully? Well, the likelihood is that the bullying procedure, the anti-bullying procedure in the workplace, in the staff handbook if there is one, or in the anti-bullying procedure if there is one, will be that you must tell the bully that their treatment of you, their conduct towards you is inappropriate and so forth. That's difficult, that is difficult. The next step, and that's an informal step, the next more formal step would be for the alleged victim, say the victim of the bully, to make a formal complaint in accordance with the procedure in the workplace. Again, you nearly always have to use the procedures in the workplace, because if you don't, you're going to have a weaker case when you go to the WRC or anywhere else with your claim. In court, for example, or in the Workplace Relations Commission, one question which will arise and will be looked at is whether you actually availed of the procedures open to you. Clearly, if you don't do that, you're going to have to explain why. So, to go on to the formal procedure in relation to bullying, you make a formal complaint about a colleague or a supervisor or a manager in your workplace, and two things can happen then. That can be investigated, and the outcome is going to be in your favour or it's going to be against you, one or the other. Clearly, if it's in your favour, then you're hoping that a disciplinary situation will follow and the bully will be dealt with in accordance with the disciplinary procedure in the workplace. However, if your complaint is not upheld, then you're really in a difficult position, because not only are you going to be continued probably to be bullied, but the relationship between you and your colleague, and perhaps even other employees, other colleagues in the workplace, will be worse, will be degraded, quite frankly. So you have a difficult position then. You've made a complaint, a formal complaint, and it hasn't been upheld. What do you do then? Do you continue to go to work with a sick feeling in the pit of your stomach, or do you leave and bring some sort of a claim? Okay, looking at the claims then that you might bring, you might leave the workplace and say, I'm going to bring a claim for constructive dismissal. In other words, I had to leave this job as a consequence of the bullying that I suffered, etc. You go to the WRC, and the employer is going to be there defending themselves and their conduct. And they're going to be saying, we carried out an investigation, we used the procedures that are in the workplace, and we did not uphold the complaint of bullying. If that's the case, you're going to be in a sticky position in terms of proving any claim that you might bring, because it will be very difficult to win a claim for constructive dismissal in circumstances where you've made a complaint. Your complaint has been dealt with in accordance with the procedures in the workplace, and your complaint has not been upheld. The employer will be able to say, what else were we supposed to do? We behaved like a reasonable employer, a responsible employer. We investigated the complaint, it wasn't upheld, and that's it. There is a procedure, and that's what we did. And again, you're going to lose, quite frankly. I might as well say it to you now and spell it out clearly. You bring a claim to the Workplace Relations Commission for constructive dismissal in circumstances where you have availed of the procedures in the workplace. There has been an investigation, there's been an outcome. It's unlikely you're going to win a claim for constructive dismissal, because the employer will be able to say, we behaved like a reasonable employer. So what other remedies might be open to you? Another remedy that might be open to you might be for the bringing of a personal injury claim against the employer for failing to protect you and for the injury that you suffered in the workplace as a consequence of the bullying. That's going to involve you getting a psychological or psychiatric report which will confirm that you have indeed suffered a recognised injury, a recognised psychiatric or psychological injury. Not only that, but the cause of that injury was the bullying in the workplace. And if you can do all of that, then you must prove that the employer was negligent in the way that the injury arose and that the employer's negligence caused your injury. So you can see, if you're doing a job and you have the unfortunate position of being bullied, the options open to you are not hugely attractive. In fact, it's arguable that the best claim you might have for a bullying situation would be a personal injury claim. But in order to bring that claim and succeed, you must have suffered the injury. And let's face it, nobody wants to suffer a psychological or psychiatric injury simply for the sake of winning a claim or anything of that nature. Now, clearly you're entitled to the protection of the law. You could perhaps sue the employer for breach of contract in failing to provide a safe place of work. But failing to provide a safe place of work is an argument or an assertion or a statement. If you brought a complaint about bullying and it's been investigated and it's been found that there was no bullying, then you're going to have a hard time proving that the employer failed to provide a safe place of work, because again, the employer can turn around and say, we behaved like a reasonable employer, we investigated his or her complaint in accordance with the procedures in the workplace, and the complaint was not upheld. So you can see the difficulty with what I call the bullying dilemma. It's a difficult position for any victim of bullying or anybody who believes that's been treated badly, even short of bullying. It's difficult for them because the options open to them are fairly limited. And to put it in context, on the Irish statute books, and the Irish statute books contain the statutes or laws enacted by the Oireachtas in this country, you will not find a statute or an act which actually deals with bullying or describes or defines what constitutes bullying or says that bullying is an offence. So what you have then is either a personal injury claim or perhaps an action for negligence against the employer, or perhaps walking away from the job and bringing a claim for constructive dismissal. But again, difficult case to win, and that's the difficulty facing somebody in a position where they believe they're being bullied. And that person has to continue going to work if they need the money and if they can't get a new job easily enough. And in the current climate with the COVID situation going on, it's difficult to get a job. Somebody who is the victim of bullying or what they believe to be bullying is in a very difficult position. And that's why I say and call it the bullying dilemma. It's all very well to say that bullying is bad, bullying is inappropriate, bullying is wrong. Absolutely, that goes without saying. However, the remedies open to the victim are not so clear and difficult enough to prove, because essentially you're looking at walking away from your job and taking a chance with a constructive dismissal claim, or perhaps a personal injury claim, or perhaps a civil action for breach of contract or something of that nature. But again, it's a journey that's fraught with potential costs and no guaranteed outcome. Anyway, I hope you find the video useful. If you do, I'd appreciate if you gave it the thumbs up down below, and subscribe to my channel if you find it useful. Thanks a lot.